In this video, I will explain quadratic formula, step by step. So let's see the question. It says solve for x, and we have x squared plus 5x minus 14 is equal to 0. How to solve quadratic equations by the quadratic formula. So this formula will be provided, during the test. So you don't need to memorize it. But, it's good if you are familiar with it. Now, let's understand the formula. They say x is equal to, on top of the fraction, we have a negative b plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. They say when ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. So this is the form. That's the standard form. We call it standard form. So you have something squared plus something x plus something or minus something is equal to 0. And the x here, this x will be the solution. That's going to be the solution. A, B, and C are the coefficient, from the equation. Okay. So when you have here 4AC, you have to understand this is 4 multiplied by the A value multiplied by the C value. Same thing when they say 2A is a 2 multiplied by the A value. When you say b to the second power, that means b multiplied by itself. You have a negative b, that means what? You take the b value and you change the sign, so you negate that b value. Okay, the plus minus here is telling you that you're going to have two solutions. Two solutions, where one solution will have a negative b plus the square root part divided by 2a. The other solution will have the same negative b, and this time minus the square root part divided by the same 2a. Now you're going to ask, what is a? What is b? What is c? Here. Okay, for that, let's see in detail how we figure out a, b, and c. So the equation again is what we have on top of here. X squared plus 5x minus 14 is equal to 0. And we're going to match that to x squared plus bx. So let's write it properly. Okay, it has to be something we match with this ax squared plus bx plus c, which is equal to 0. So a is what? 1. That number in front of the x squared. So always the number in front of the x squared will be the a value. A has to be a number, numerical number. A is not a 1x squared. A is just 1. Now here they use xx. Maybe in another equation, instead of x, they use a y. That means what? Y squared plus 5y minus 14. Or they say z. Z squared plus 5z minus 14. So it doesn't matter the variable they use. But what you have to understand that number in front of the variable squared is the a. So if you don't see any number, that means what? There is invisible 1. So you don't see any number, don't think like, oh, a is 0. No, a is not a 0. A is 1. Okay, let's continue. B is that number in front of x. And the b here is what? The positive 5. Okay. Let's clarify something. Suppose the equation was what? X squared minus 5x minus 14. In that case, b will be what? Negative 5. Here, b will not be 5, but b will be negative 5. Just to let you understand that every time you are taking the value, you take it with the sign. You take the value with its sign. So the sign for this 5 is positive. So here in the question. But the example I give here, the sign is negative. So we take a 5 with the negative sign. That will be the B value. So always we take it like that. Okay, we continue. Also, you have to understand that when they say C, C is that number without the variable. So C is alone. They don't have a variable. They don't have X. Or if it's a Z they are using, that C is that number with no Z or with no Y, with no letter, So you just that number like that. Okay. So here C is what? Negative 14. Again, don't think like a C will be 14. No. C is negative 14. Every time you take a number, you take it with its sign. And the sign there is negative. Therefore, C is negative 14. Okay, so after you figure out A, B, and C, the rest is just to plug in. So the crucial or the critical part for this question is that you figure out the correct A, the correct B, the correct C before you move on. If you don't get to the correct A, the correct B, the correct C, oh, that will affect, your answer, your final answer, and the probably you're gonna get the wrong answer. So let's see. We have the formula here, and we're gonna replace A, B, and C by the value. Look, we say B is 5, and the formula say negative B. So we have a negative with the 5 in the parentheses. The reason, it's important to use the parentheses is that will help you to avoid the mistake. Yeah, that will help you to avoid the mistake. Because suppose your B is negative 5. Suppose your B is negative 5. And the formula say negative B. If you don't use the parentheses, you're going to have a trouble. Yeah, I can, explain a similar question where I will make B as a negative and negative value, and you can see the difference. Okay, so we continue. We have the plus minus, yes, and I have a square root of B squared. Yeah, we say that B is 5, so B squared will be 5 squared. And again, we use a parenthesis to avoid mistake. Minus 4 AC. So 4 multiplied by A value is 1, and the C value is negative 14. Again, very, very important. Everything divided by 2A. So 2 multiplied by the A value. So far, so good. Okay, the rest is a calculation. And for that calculation, again, it's very important to know how to do this calculation. And we're going to use the PEMDAS. Yeah, PEMDAS. PEMDAS. Yeah, explanation of PEMDAS is in a previous, video. But the thing is this, using this PEMDAS, we're going to work on the radical part. Yeah, because using negative B, which is negative 5, that stays that negative 5 even without the parentheses. Okay, no problem. The plus minus, yes. They say B squared, so we have a 5 squared. 5 squared will be what? 25. So we have to do this power. Yeah, you have to do the power first. Yeah, power. So 5 to the second power give you 25. Okay, now we have to do the multiplication part, which is to do what? We take a negative 4, you multiply by 1, that gives you negative 4. You multiply by negative 14. If you use a calculator, that will give you positive 56. Yeah, you're going to ask how. Yeah, because negative multiplied by negative is positive. The reason is not negative 56, but it's positive 56. So negative multiplied by negative. And we divide by 2, because 2 multiplied by 1 is 2. Okay, we continue. So you have the negative 5, you have the plus minus. Again, it's very important with the plus minus. Square root of 81. So what we do, you add the 25 to 56, that gives you 81. Divide again by 2. At this step, you have to understand that we have 2 solutions we're going to have 1 with a negative 5 plus the square root of 81 divided by 2. The other one will be what? The same negative 5, but this time minus square root of 81 divided by 2. The reason we have a plus minus. So the plus minus again is telling you they're going to have two solutions, but what is going to be different is the positive radical 81 and the negative radical 81. Other thing, okay, are the same. Now, when we take the top one, you're going to have a negative 5 plus 9 divided by 2. Why plus 9? Because square root of 81 is a 9. And number multiplied by itself gives you 81 is a 9. So square root of 81 is a regular 9 divided by 2. And to do that, you do negative 5 plus 5, negative 5 plus 9. That gives you positive 4. Okay, so negative 5 plus 9 is like 9 minus 5, which is positive 4, divided by 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. The reason the first solution here is 2. What they say, x1. So solution for x, the first solution. Now, the second solution, you have a negative 5 minus 9. Yeah, that's this one here. Okay, minus 9 divided by 2. So negative 5 minus 9 is not a positive. It's still negative because what? We are combining two negative numbers. We don't multiply these numbers, we combine. So if we combine two negative numbers, the result will be negative. So you have a negative 14 divided by 2. And we have a negative 7. Because negative divided by positive is negative. So you see that we have the two solutions, positive 2 and negative 7. Okay, someone could ask if we could do x1 could be negative 7 and the x2 will be positive 2. Yes, doesn't matter. This is just a notation. This is a notation. So you can have your x1 with this part and the x2 with this part. What is very important is that get the correct solutions, which are 2 and negative 7. Okay, so I will explain this again in another video with different question again to see the trick part of quadratic formula. Okay, thank you and see you in our next video. Bye bye.